The topic we are going to discuss today is Autopilot, your partner for artificial intelligence at work. This would be our agenda. We are going to start with what exactly is an autopilot, what are the capabilities. I am going to showcase a quick demo of the autopilot in the Studio Web. We are going to see what could be the example prompts which we can utilize. And lastly, I am going to talk about what are the next steps you can have to continue your journey in the autopilot, right? So first thing first, what exactly is an autopilot? In October 2023, UiPath introduced something which is called UiPath Autopilot. It is an array of AI driven experiences which is now integrated in the complete UiPath platform. And these experiences are not only restricted to the developer. Either you could be a business analyst, you could be a tester, or you could be just a simple user of automation. UiPath has something to offer for everybody, right? And in the upcoming slides, you would see that how the different personas can use the autopilot and what is there for everybody, right? So to make it simple, autopilot is just a experience, AI driven experience, which is now integrated in the UiPath platform, and it is available for all of us. Talking more about the developers, what exactly is there for developers, right? This is the slide, you can read it, but to just quickly summarize, you can generate text to workflow. I have an automation idea, but I do not know what activity should I use. So this is specifically for the people who are using Studio Web. You can just write your automation and autopilot will generate the automation for you. Let's say you are more experienced developer and you want to write some expressions, right? Autopilot can help you to convert your text to expressions. People who are coming from Studio background might know that yes, we have something which is called coded automation. Autopilot is now capable of generating the automated code in your code base automation. This feature is released in 23.12 version of Studio Desktop community, right? So this is what is all for developers. To get started with, you have to log into the cloud platform of UiPath, which is cloud.uipath.com. And once you are successfully logged in, you just go to the left hand menu and you click on this button which says Studio. This should open the Studio Web for you, where as a developer you can write the code directly in the browser. Once you log in it for the first time, you see template, projects, automation, runs and connection. All the projects whichever you have done in the past would be available for you in the project tabs. Then we have something which is called connection, which simply means that in case you have already made a connection to any external service, let's say Outlook, Office 365, SAP or Gmail or Google Drive, all those connection would be available for you in the connection tabs. Now the third one is the template, and which is very interesting. Template simply means UiPath has created a lot of template for us where you can just go here and search something. Let's say today I have a requirement, I have to merge the PDFs. So I can go here and I can say just write merge, and you can see that all these templates are by default available for me from UiPath just directly to go and reuse, right? And it also shows that how many automations are already using these templates, right? Now let's say I have a requirement which is not available in the template and I am very much beginner to this technology. Can I still utilize this technology, and where does autopilot come in picture? The simple answer to that is this button which is called generate, right? So when you hover over this button, it says that generate the automation idea based on the description. I just have an idea and I want to create an automation. Can I do that? So let's try that. I'll just go here and click on this button which is called the generate. And this opens a new tab for me which says describe your automation. At the same time, UiPath has also given you some of the hints that these are some of the examples, right? So let's define a use case. So for example, I have this mailbox which is my Outlook account, right? And I want to reply to all the emails whichever wishes me happy new year, right? So as of now, as you can see, I do not have any emails. My automation is simple, that whenever I receive any email in my Office 365 account, I want to reply to that email with a particular text, right? So that's my automation idea, and I do not know coding, right? So where will I start? So I'll go here, something like this. Whenever I receive an email in my Office 365 with the subject Happy New Year. Reply to that email with this text. Right now, whatever text you want to write, you can just specify here. So let's say I want to write here Happy New Year 2024 from Mukesh Kala, right? So this is my simple automation requirement, right? And I'm not sure what activity, what integration should I use. So I'll just go here and click on this button which says submit, and we would just wait for the Studio Web and the Autopilot to work together and give us the automation. So we'll just wait for a while. Now, as you can see, I have got this workflow preview which says new email received, read the email, check the email subject and reply to that email, right? But still I want to see and I want to configure. So I'll just go here and click on this button which says continue in Studio. And what would happen? This is now going to open in the Studio Web with all these workflow, all these activities available, right? We just have to wait for this automation to load, and once the automation is successfully loaded, we have to configure that which email account we want to use, right? And also you would have option to customize the messages as well, right? So as you can see, once this is successfully done, it is asking for me to connect to my Office 365, right? Because when I'm writing the prompt, I told it that yes, I want to use the Office 365. Now UiPath does not know, right, which account I should use. So I need to tell which Office 365 account I have to connect, right? So as you can see, new email received and it says connect to the Microsoft Office 365. It's absolutely simple. You just go here and you click on this button which says connect to Microsoft Office 365. Okay, and now it will take you to the connection page where you have to just authenticate your account, right? So this, I will just say Office 365 and I'll say connect. Select your account, whichever you want to use. So I am using Mukesh Kala @outlook.com. So I'll go here and I select that account because that is the account I want to monitor the emails. Now here this is saying that your integration is loading, and once it is successfully connected, we should be able to see the connection like this, right? Now you can see here you have an option to customize which folder you want to use. If you have other different folder which you want to monitor, all of that you can customize here as well, right? So for now I would stick to the inbox, right? After that we have an activity which is placed, which is called the read email. So you can just click on this activity to expand and collapse it like this to make it more readable, right? So you can just collapse this one, and you can see the next one is the read email, which has by default taken the same account and the folder as inbox, right? One additional thing which you should remember here is this one, which is called the show additional options. We can click on that button, and here you have some options which you can customize. That do you want to have only the unread emails? Do you want to read with attachments? All of these settings you can customize here, right? And if you notice, there is something which is called output, which means that once this email is read, where exactly this is going to be stored, right? So that is going to be stored in this variable which is called email, right? So you don't have to touch anything, and I can just collapse this as well, right? After that, the next requirement was to validate that what is the email subject, right? So you can see I have this check which is already available, which says that whatever email you have read dot subject dot contains, which is Happy New Year, right? So this is the condition which is already available for you. Let's say after you have created this, you want to write an additional condition, right? Or you want to modify this condition. All you can do is you can just click on these three buttons and you can open this one which is called the condition builder. And this is a self-explanatory thing for you where you can write, add, edit the conditions as well, right? Let's say instead of this you want to check for something else, you have an option to customize this as well, right? You want to add more condition, you can click on this button which says add condition, and you can add a different condition as well, right? All you have to do is just click on this one and you have to just select for which variable you want to write a condition. You can write a condition from address, to address, CC, BCC. Let's say I want to write a condition wherever the from address is from somebody @uipath.com. That also can be added. Just click and add it, right? So as of now, I'll just go and delete this. And yes, this email subject should contain Happy New Year. So I'll just go here and click on this button which says save, right? The important thing here is that once this automation is generated, you can also customize it as per your requirement. Okay, so once the email subject is matching Happy New Year, what do I have to do? I have to reply to the email. So as you can see, reply to the email activity is also added by UiPath for me, right? So it says reply to the email. Which email? The same email which you are reading, right? So which is this email? This email is the same which you read here. See, the output was stored in this variable email. So that email is again going to here, and the same email we have to reply. Now, absolutely simple, email to reply, which email, and here is the body. So you can customize the body again here. You can use the variable. All those settings are still available, right? So if you want to bold, do some italics, right? So you can just customize this one. Let's say I want to make it bold, so I can just make it bold here. Very easy, very handy options. And that should reply to that email with this text in the body. Okay. So now that completes the automation without me writing a single line of code, right? And also I have an option to customize it, right? So now all we have to do is just test this automation. Okay. Now to test this automation, I will go to my Gmail account and I will write an email to this account, which is mukeshkala@outlook.com, and in the subject I would mention Happy New Year, right? And I'll click on this button to send the email. Now in my Outlook account, I have received this email which is Happy New Year from my Gmail account, right? So now let's go back to my UiPath Studio solution which we have just created, reply to the New Year email. To test this automation, you have this one which is called the test the project, right? So I'll go here and I click on this button which says test the project. Okay, and on the right hand side of the screen you would notice that we have something which is called the output, which says that building the project is running, agent is initializing, and it is now running, right? So the execution has started. It says they're trying to get a new email. So here you can see all the logs, and in your workflow you would notice that all the activities which has ran successful are marked with green, right? And this completes the execution. Okay, now to validate, I can simply go to my Outlook account, right? So this was the email which was received, right? And you can see here it has replied Happy New Year 2024 from Mukesh Kala, right? You can click on that one, and you can also see that we have told it to make it bold, so we can see that it is bold here. Also, let me just quickly go to my Gmail and show that to you as well. So this is an email which I have received on my Gmail, which says that this is the email which you have sent, and this is the response which we got from the robot automatically with the help of Autopilot, right? So this completes our demo for reply to a new email. Now what other options you have in this one, right? You have this button which says publish, which will package and publish the project to the orchestrator in your personal workspace or in the custom feed. In case you think that this is very useful and a lot of people would require this, you have in this option which says submit as template, and this would be available in the template as we have seen in the beginning. Also, while working on this, if you find there is something which the product team of UiPath should know, you can also submit a feedback by clicking on this button which is the feedback, and your feedback will directly reach to the product team of UiPath, right? So I hope this was insightful and you are going to try this on your own, right? So now if I come back to the home screen, now if you go to the connections, you would see the connections which you have made, right? As you can see, this is the same connection which we made, Office 365. So all the connection which you have made would be available for you directly in the connections. And once you start creating the new projects, every time you no longer need to create a connection, you can already use the existing one from the connection. To get the projects which you have already created, you just go to this window, projects, and you would have all the projects, right? So that was about using Autopilot in the Studio Web, right? Now, in case you are an experienced developer who is already coding into UiPath Studio, Autopilot is now introduced in the UiPath Studio as well, and you can use it for a lot of purposes. Let me show you quick examples of that. Okay. So I am in my latest version of the UiPath Studio and I have created a sequence. In the main sequence, let's say I have a variable. I'll call that variable as str_name. Okay, and it's a string kind of variable, and let's say I give it a value something like a b c d e, which is all in small, right, which is all in the lowercase, right? Now let's say I have to write a condition where I want to check and compare this str name to something which is in the uppercase, right? So I want to compare small a b c d e with capital A B C D E, and I do not know how to write that expression, right? So let's try to do with the help of Autopilot. I'll go to the activities and I'll take something which is called if activity. Okay, now here you can see always write an condition which says enter an VB expression, but however you have this button which says open in advanced editor, and that will open this advanced editor for you. Okay, now here it says that describe your expression in natural language. So here I'll just mention convert the string variable to uppercase, and then I want to compare, right? Then I want to compare with A B C D E, right? This is what I want to compare it with, right? Maybe I can just remove the double quotes, and then I click on this button which says generate, right? Let's see what happens. And you can see here UiPath Studio automatically generated a syntax for me which says that str name, whatever value you have, dot to upper, which is a string function, right? It has automatically got the string function for me, dot to upper equal to A B C D E. I can click on save and this can give me this condition, right? Let's try to do something else, right? So for example, tomorrow you are getting some value like this, 10,000, right? And now you want to compare this 10,000 to an integer, right? But here this is all string. How can I write to convert it to an integer and then compare to 10,000, right? Our expression is clear that we want to convert the string variable to integer and compare with 10,000. That is just my expression I want to evaluate, right? So I'll just go here and click on this button which is the generate, and you can see it has generated this expression which says integer dot parse, convert this str name into an integer value by using this function, and then you are going to convert it with 10,000, right? As of now my workflow has only one variable, so it is taking that. But as a developer, you always has an option, you can change this variable to something else, right? So that's the whole idea of using the Autopilot to generate the expression, right? Now, as you guys are aware of, UiPath has also got something which is called coded automation. You can just go into the new and you can click on this one which is called the coded workflow, right? So people who don't understand coded workflow, this is a place where you can actually write the C# code and you can generate the code on its own, right? So let's say today I have to write a code where I want to check whether a number is odd or even, right? I can definitely go here and write the complete function. However, if you just come to the workflow, right click on it and you select this option which says generate the code, and you can now write the expression here directly. So what do I want to do? So I want to have a function which checks whether a number is odd or even, and I can click on this button which says generate. It says generating the code, and we'll just wait and see how does the code is generated. right? Now, as you can see here, we have got a function which is called check odd or even. The input is the number. It's checking by mod 2. If it is 0, it says console.writeLine even, and else it is called odd, right? So this code is automatically generated by UiPath Autopilot for me. How cool is that, right? Okay, so these were the demos which I want to showcase the capabilities of Autopilot specifically for the developers, both in the Studio Web as well as in the UiPath Studio. So now these are some of the examples which you can try it on your own and see how does it behave, right? So for example, you can also use the prompt like, whenever I receive an email that is not in English, translate it and send it back to me, right? You can use this. Every Monday, read my to-do file from the OneDrive and send an email with the line marked as urgent. Every time I get a new lead created in the Salesforce, create a team message in this team channel with their name and the company, right? So all of these things, whichever you see on the screen, are the prompts which you can utilize, right? Now, please remember one thing: whenever you are trying to create any automation with Salesforce, Microsoft Teams, OpenAI, or let's say language translation, right, you have to connect to their integration services, right? Because UiPath does not know, right, which teams you are logging in, or let's say which OpenAI key you are using, right? So every time you generate a workflow, the workflow is going to prompt you to select your account, provide your credential, provide your API key. So please provide those and then you should be good to go. Similarly, for UI automation, you can do this. Studio Web, you can do that. For the studio, which is in the UiPath Code Studio, you can do something like this, right? Generate a random email address, generate a latest weather from weather.com, right? So all of these are some of the example for you to try on. Okay, so now to know more about it, you just go to forum.uipath.com and you would have a post which is called Autopilot for Developers. This post has got all the details to get started. It even has a video where the UiPath team is showing the hands-on demo of this feature, right? Please explore this. If you have questions, feedback, you can use this thread, or you can also directly use the feedback button as well, right? So with that, I would like to wrap this video here. I hope this was insightful. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write in the comments, or you can also drop an email as well. So with that, I'll wrap this video here. Thank you for watching and happy automation.